You have clicked on this video because you are wondering if you can still travel in 2020, and I'm going to give you some stuff to think about when you're planning your trip and seeing if it's actually possible. Hey guys, how's it going? How are you all doing? My name is Dain Luka. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Hello. I post lifestyle and travel videos every single Friday. If you haven't already, click down on the subscribe button so you can see future videos of mine. Give that video a thumbs up. I hate saying that, but it helps the algorithm apparently. And I am a small YouTuber trying to grow my channel. As you can see, I'm just chilling in my room. I'm gonna talk to you like you're one of my mates. So yeah, I've made this video because I wanted to share with you some things that you will need to think about and plan when you're going on a trip in 2020/early 2021. Obviously the pandemic is not going away, but I definitely believe that travel is still possible. So let's get on with the mother freaking video, guys, and yeah, enjoy. It's no secret or surprise that due to COVID, travel is having a really hard time at the minute. I think it's so important, if it's safe to, that we should still travel. I've been in Italy this week and I can definitely see the impact COVID has had. Italy is one of the most visited countries in the world and it's very quiet at the minute. I'm currently in Venice and it really hit me yesterday when I was at a bar with my friend Grace and we were speaking to one of the barmen, Marco. Now Marco was telling me and Grace that currently Venice has only got about 20% of its usual tourists. Marco was saying that people don't have jobs, which means that they don't have any money to live, and that obviously people need to pay their rent, buy food. So just think, next time you're traveling, if you are traveling, think every time you buy from a small business, whether that's buying a coffee, purchasing a tour, or even going out for drinks, you're supporting someone's business and someone's livelihood. Next thing, health. For some people like me, I'm young, I'm fit, I'm healthy. If I caught COVID, I may show symptoms, I may not show symptoms, but chances are I'm gonna be okay. If I had a pre-existing health condition, that might be a different story. It's a real risk that we have to take into consideration when we're looking at planning our future travels. Another thing you need to consider if you are going to travel in 2020 is what's gonna happen when you get to the airport the other side. I recently traveled to Italy from Greece, and one of their kind of restrictions is that you needed to either provide a COVID test that said you were negative, or you needed to have a rapid test done at the airport. So when we were queuing in the kind of lab testing area, we had to give them our details and give them a phone number, email address so they can contact us during our time in Italy. We also had to declare like where we'd been before, so the only reason I needed the test is because I had been in Greece. If I'd came from England, I wouldn't have needed to be tested. And the rapid testing is not very nice. My friend, she was okay with it. Myself, I cried and I thought I was gonna be sick. They basically shove like an eyebrow spoolie up your nose and they keep shoving it and they kind of spin it round for 10 seconds in each nostril, and then you have to go wait in a waiting area and wait for your test to come back. So this is what I got given, and it basically states that I am negative for COVID, but it's something that you would need to consider. Obviously if it was positive, they would, well, I assume they would take me to some government facility and quarantine me for 14 days. We also need to have the expectation that actually things can change pretty quickly. Luckily, my last 2 weeks in Europe have been a safe and sound trip. I'm heading back to the airport later on, but things can change pretty quickly and we need to be expectant of that. I remember when I was backpacking back in March and the official government website made like 500 changes in 1 week to travel advice. 500 changes, like that is just ludicrous. Things are changing constantly every day. Here in England we have our travel corridor, so there is a list of countries that if us British people go to, we don't have to quarantine when we return back to England. However, they add countries on that every day. They take countries off of that depending on where their infection rate is. As much as it sucks for me to say this, if you're booking a trip, you need to be okay with the fact that that trip might get cancelled, or you might not be able to go ahead on that trip. You might have to quickly leave the country or quickly fly back home and pay for a flight that might be a bit more expensive, or deal with like cancelled flights, which can be very stressful, especially if you're on your own. Another thing you're going to want to consider if you're traveling in 2020 during this crazy pandemic that's going on is traveling responsibly. We need to sanitize our hands, we need to cover our faces when we are required to do so, respect other people's space. I was just in the Colosseum currently in Rome, and you have to wear face masks inside. You might be uncomfortable at times, you might be hot, but that is the reality of traveling during the pandemic. This isn't going away anytime soon. I really wish it would. In traveling responsibly, we need to make sure we're not spreading the virus and only travel to countries that we are allowed to travel. Myself, as a UK citizen, I am allowed to travel to Italy and, you know, travel freely without being questioned, but there are other countries that I wouldn't be allowed to enter into. So, you know, in Italy, you need to wear these masks inside shops, inside restaurants, when you're going to the bathroom, and on public transport. Never ever has it been so hard to try and get a visa these days. Most countries have kind of like locked down their borders. We are not getting in. Countries like Southeast Asia, New Zealand, Australia, there is no tourists getting in there anytime soon. I am actually English, if you couldn't tell by my accent. I'm in the fortunate position where I can travel freely to certain countries without having to quarantine, but that is something you need to consider if you are going to plan a trip. You need to consider, am I going to have to quarantine when I get to that country, because it might be 7 days, 8 days, 10 days, 14 days. It might be quarantining in a hotel that you have to pay for. It might be quarantining in a government facility that they pay for. And you also need to consider, am I gonna have to quarantine when I get back to my home country? Gone are the days where you can go for a city break. If you're gonna have to quarantine for 14 days on arrival and 14 days on a return, how are you gonna have an amazing travel trip? Let's talk insurance. Earlier this year, when I was doing my big trip, my insurance that I bought for like 6 months actually didn't cover anything COVID related. So you need to make sure that if you're buying any insurance, it's better to just pay for the best insurance that you can afford. I'm on a trip at the moment, and obviously I'm aware that if anything happens COVID related, I need to make sure that my insurance covers it. Otherwise, it's not going to be valid and I could be left with a hefty bill. What will happen if you don't have insurance? You will be left with fronting the cost for any hospital related bills, if anything happens, if you lose your passport, extra accommodation, that sort of thing. I would definitely recommend, if you are going to be traveling in 2020 or even into early 2021, definitely get insurance, pay a little bit extra for the best insurance you can. Look at the policy. Does it include if you do get COVID, if your flight gets cancelled, if your holiday in total gets cancelled? So yeah, get insurance guys, because it's mega important. I really strongly believe that it's actually such a good time to travel at the moment. There are so many iconic places in the world, and there are so many iconic places in the world that you can see without tourists, such as the Trevi Fountain. So this is probably quite a rare thing for the Trevi Fountain to be not very busy. Got our coins in our hands, making my wish. 3, 2, 1. Oh, mine didn't go in! Same. Mine didn't go in, it just fell on the floor. Why do you like this? I recently went to Rome in Italy, and I was so shocked to see that there wasn't any tourists there. At one point during the night, there was literally like 10 people around the Trevi Fountain. I saw pictures on Google of the Trevi Fountain on a normal day, like pre-COVID, and there was so many people, and I was like, wow, I've literally had the opportunity to see this iconic place without tourists, which was amazing. This definitely took me back to my time that I spent in Japan earlier this year, when I visited the beautiful Arashiyama bamboo forest in Kyoto, Japan. I was there around mid-March when the whole world was kind of locking down. I didn't realize how bad it was, but I actually got to see it without any tourists. I read on blogs that said to get there really early because you won't be able to see anything or get any good pictures. And I actually basically had the whole place to myself, which was a bit eerie, but I was like, wow, this is amazing. So it might be a good chance to see some iconic places without any tourists, which is just like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Tourism all over the world has taken a massive hit with visa restrictions, tours not operating, travel companies going bust. It's really such a bad time for travel agencies and local tourism. So I would, my personal opinion is, if you can travel and if it's safe to do so, I would highly recommend you travel. If you're a lover of travel like me, I'm not gonna let this stop me. I haven't been out of the country in 5 months until last week. And if you're worried that there are not other people traveling, let me reassure you, there totally are. I can only speak from my time in Italy last week, and I did actually stay in a couple of hostels, and they just had the classic hostel vibe of like drinking in the garden, going out to a few bars, going out to food together, walking around cities. Like, I was like, wow, people are traveling, and that makes me so happy. It just provided me with a lot of reassurance that we can still travel. People are still traveling, and yeah, if you've got that travel mindset, you know what I mean. I will leave on the point of needing to travel responsibly. Be respectful to other cultures, the restrictions that certain countries have in place. If you have to quarantine, please quarantine. Wear a mask when you need to. Wash your hands as much as possible, sanitize, and just don't be freaking stupid. I hope you have found this video useful, guys. I just thought I would make it to give you a little perspective. Like I said, I'm not like an official person or anything. I am just giving you my personal opinion on travel post-COVID or like during COVID. Travel is very much still possible. Obviously, there's just a lot more we need to think about. Gone are the days where we can just rock up to a country, visa on arrival, find a hostel, hotel. There's a lot more planning that needs to go into travel, but it's still definitely possible. If you have any questions or you want to talk about anything, do leave some comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up as well, because it helps that damn YouTube algorithm. Don't know why I'm using my hand so much. And yeah, go follow me on Instagram as well. You can see my highlights from Italy and Corfu in Greece, which was absolutely beautiful. And as ever, hit that subscribe button if you want to see future travel videos. I have some very exciting videos coming up from my time traveling through Italy and also Corfu in Greece. And I might also be going somewhere else in the next couple of weeks, so you do not want to miss that. I'll also say you can check out all my other travel videos. I've got like Japan, Australia, New Zealand, LA. There's loads of videos on there, so go ahead and give them a watch. And yeah, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So take care and peace out.